Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Bike Chat. My name is Jonah D, and it is always a pleasure to have you on our show. Hey, by the way, just a quick reminder, do us a favor and tell a friend. Tweet this out. You can share this with your friends and followers on Facebook. And most importantly, if you see something you like and you want to give us some props for those folks that are actually hanging out, we can do something like this. And of course, if you do need to ask any questions in the comment section, it's /Q. So tonight's show, we are going to be talking with the folks from Squid Bikes, and none other than Mr. Tweakin himself, Anthony Clark, will be telling us about a lot of exciting things that we have going on. But first, on a very, very serious note, I do want to take a few moments, and I do want to dedicate this show to Dave Mirra. A very, very sad and somber moment. I'm not going to go into details, but I do want to send out our thoughts and prayers and positive vibes to Dave Mirra's family. A very sad day. We've lost a BMX freestyle legend. He was, again, dominant in almost everything that he did. In fact, the very last part of his career, he was even getting into being a multi-sport athlete. So then I want to push this show out and props and prayers to Dave Mirra's family, and again, all his family, friends, and close that are out there. Man, it's a sad day. I tell you what, I met him a couple of times up here in Rochester back in the day, doing some BMX stuff, and just a heart of gold kid. So definitely a sad day. So props to him. All right. So, my goodness, Gunnar, if there was ever a show where there could be more ridiculous hot topics, this is the week. Now, if and I know Anthony just can't wait to let the cat out of the bag about a couple of these. But first, Gunnar, I know you had a really good one that you sent my way, and I'll let you lead it up. What was your first hot topic that you had?
Well, you're going to have to remind me, because I was tweeting up so much stuff today that I can't even remember.
Okay.
And now I was reading so much about Dave that it's kind of lost my. I totally blanking.
All right.
I apologize.
Okay. No worries. Okay. Well, let's bring it back in. So again, I want to give a shout out to the folks tuning in. Of course, again off the interweb. Jeff, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Big shout out to Dan Bloomberg and Skinnachi. Hey, listen, you have a good connection when you go to look at his Twitter feed and it says this tweet has been removed. That's usually a good sign. No. Anyway, well, listen, in all seriousness, let's get to the core of hot topics. I don't know about you, but when I was watching the CX Worlds and all of a sudden that I realized that there was the most bizarre thing that could ever happen. Motorized bikes. I'm gonna have to move to both Emily and Anthony. Now, Anthony, you were there. Like, what's up with that? Like, did that actually happen, or this just total media BS?
Oh no, it happened. And then we were at dinner, and somebody was talking about how that same person with the motor in their bike had 5 seconds slower than Sven Nyss's record time on the climb at Hoogerheide. So it's definitely real, but you're never gonna stop cheaters. That's what makes me want to train harder and faster, so I can beat cheaters. It's kind of great. You're cheating and I still beat you. That's. I want to be like Powers in that aspect.
Well, absolutely. And the other thing too is I know I pushed out a couple other tweets. Apparently, I want to say it was Wiggins. I think Wiggins had said that it's just been happening, and apparently somebody finally had noticed it. So, Gunnar, did you catch this story, or Emily? Did you see this? Apparently, the athlete is claiming that it was one of her colleagues' bikes that she had happened to make a bike swap and then headed out back onto the course. Now, I don't know about that, but you're gonna believe that. It's pretty crazy. And I think the other thing, though, we've talked about this before. Anthony and Emily, is these e-bikes and these electric bikes. I mean, this is like a whole nother can of worms of making these, like, I don't want to say like, it's hilarious that you can have somebody who may not necessarily be nearly as fit, but be able to get on their bike and kind of keep up, which is, I don't know, really not the point if you ask me. So I don't know. That was my major. I know you were talking to me about a couple other ones.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, you put on a new bike and you're like, when you start pedaling and you're like, oh damn, I must feel not so tired. I must be just start ripping fast lap times. Like my bike is magically faster. I wonder what happened. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's just bullshit. Like, there's no way she didn't know that was going on.
Right. No.
My opinion is like, you're cheating and you can say whatever the F you want, but if you cheat, you should be suspended because like I'm never going to cheat in a million years and I don't ever have to worry about being suspended or getting tested. Like I don't care because I know I'm doing everything right. And all these people are scared about getting tested and scared about getting suspended. Well, be a real athlete. Don't do it.
Right. Don't
I'm all.
It should be zero tolerance. You get caught once, you're done. You're out of the sport.
Right.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are talking about, especially with mechanical cheating, mechanical doping, that once you get caught, you're done and you never come back. I mean, it's not. I mean, I know right now that I think the UCI says it's a 6-month ban. So, I mean, she could be racing again next year for cross season. But besides that, a lot of people are calling for a lifetime ban at the first time, which to me, I think that's awesome. I mean, get those people out.
Yep.
Yeah.
To me, it's just as bad as drinking and driving. Same difference.
Yeah.
All that stuff to me is like, well, everyone always gets slaps on the wrist. Like, okay, cool. So you're just going to do it again. Cheaters always cheat. Drunk drivers always drive drunk. It's all the same. It's like you should just be punished right away. I know it sounds kind of harsh, but I mean, as someone that always prides of being a clean athlete, and I come from everybody that's a clean athlete, I just think everybody should be like us, and that way everything's fair. Like we all work very, very hard at what we do, and I just not great when you have to deal with people who are doing things like that. It's just, I mean, it's fine. Like I said, it adds fuel to the fire, makes us want to train harder and do everything better and beat people who cheat. It kind of makes it sweeter.
Yeah,
right.
No, I totally agree. Hey, Dan had a question. He said Lance Armstrong was on Joe Rogan's podcast last year. I don't know. Has anybody seen that? I mean, I to your point, Anthony, I've lost so much respect for Lance. I mean, it bums me out. I mean, the guy definitely did a ton for cancer and cancer research and things like that. But I mean, to just blatantly deny over and over again that there were no issues with him doping. And by the way, at Bat and Kill a number of years ago, I had a chance to meet Greg LeMond. And Greg, great guy, by the way. And I don't know if you folks know this story, but Greg had adamantly just said, hey, man, something's awry, with Lance. And Lance just tried to bury Greg LeMond like he was out of his mind. And then talk about serendipity. I mean, things come around full circle, and again, obviously, the reality comes to fruition that unfortunately, Lance decided to use, doping. So it's, Anthony, I agree with you. Jeff writes in, Don, he said, if you haven't seen the podcast, hey, Don, pop that link up maybe, or if somebody can find that, would be cool. And then Jeff says, yeah, the e-bike is a hot topic, but to be honest, I'd rather hear from Anthony about his impressions about the world and his impressions. Yeah, we're going to be moving right into that. Again, the format of the show, we usually just talk about some hot topics and go from things right there. But I guess moving into that, folks, before we get rolling, again, don't forget, share this out, tweet this out with your friends and followers. You can share this out on Facebook. As I said, my name is Joe DePasquale, host of Bike Chat with my co-host Anello Grande. Great to have you every Thursday, 9 p.m. This is the place to be on Blab. This week's show, very special. We have the folks from Squid Bikes, Emily, and Mr. Tweaking himself, Anthony Clark. So it looks like Jeff is interested in rolling into some Q&A. Everybody's having fun with it. Actually, here, I'm sorry, Gunnar, can you get that conversation? That I'm trying to scroll on my. There we go. Again, Jeff writes in. He wants to know your impressions of the Worlds and experiences your first trip out of the country. Also, he wants to hear about Em and Anthony's experience at Nationals and impressions of the course. And was there a lot of great press about the course as well as the whole event? There you go. Who'd like to field that one?
Okay, wait, which question was first?
Exactly.
I mean,
Multi-tiered. I would say, Jeff, he wanted to know your overall impressions about the Worlds and your experiences in your first trip out of the country.
oh, it was awesome, man. I got a muffin in Dublin that had some sort of filling in it, which was crazy. But that wasn't the highlight. I just remember that because I was like,
Anthony, I feel like I need to know more about that story. You don't even know how much that made me laugh reading that tweet.
well, it wasn't my fault. I was coming home from the airport. I got stuck. I got stuck in U.S. Customs for like 2 hours, and they're like dumping all my stuff out. And I was really hungry, so I finally get out of there, and I just go get like a cappuccino and like this muffin. I thought it was just like a chocolate muffin. I'm like, I have like an off season for a week. I'm getting a chocolate muffin. So like I took a bite in it, and there was a girl like sitting next to me, and there was like this filling in it, and I've never seen anything like that. And I was like, what? And like the girl like looked at me, and I was like, sorry, don't worry about that. But like every time, and then I just started freaking out on my phone because I never saw a muffin like that. But I mean, that was just a muffin. That wasn't the highlight of the trip. It was just that day. But the World's course was awesome. I mean, I wish all U.S. races were like that, just because like you actually have to be very good at handling your bike and learning how to recover in certain areas because the course was so gnarly and rutted, and it was like every corner, the recovery sections, you had to focus on where you were riding so you wouldn't hit a rut and fly off the course. It was awesome, and it was just a great experience. And training in another country and hanging out in another country, it was just awesome. I've never seen 70,000 people either, which is kind of cool.
Right.
I mean, it was dope. I've never seen that many people. It was sick. And people actually want cards. They're like, dude, I want a rider card. And I was like, here. And I'd like there was one point I just fanned a bunch of them out at people like I was like Lil Wayne with money. I was like, it was awesome. It's pretty rad.
That's awesome. Now that's funny. You said rider cards, and I was definitely I was checking out your Twitter profile earlier, and obviously it sounds like you were pretty inundated by the response of that. It's funny that the culture from the European customer versus the U.S. marketplace, it's like they could care less. It's like, I know you've been up here a couple times in Rochester for the Ellison Park cyclocross event, and people are like, oh, they're tweaking, and it's not like they don't care, but it's funny. The European customers just, the fans, they just seem to be so much more insane. You know what I mean? Where I'm sure you'd get the, hey, Anthony, sign my chest. I mean, I don't necessarily know if Gunnar and I would do that, but, that's a whole other story.
Wait, what? I totally missed that.
I don't know if the fans from the spectator point of view are more insane than the U.S. ones. I think they're different, and that's part of the culture there is that you get the rider cards, and people were definitely stoked on them, and, we passed a number out, and Anthony's, a little mini celebrity over there. He's on his way up. They've never seen Tweaking 101 over in Europe.
Yeah,
great.
Nice.
Yeah, I definitely stand out. I don't see anyone in Europe that looked like me. I thought there was going to be more people that looked like me, but
It's not your hair.
yeah. Well, I mean, everybody has long hair. It's a thing. You just don't always see them.
Nice.
Just like I tell Powers, dude, everybody's tattooed. You just don't know it.
Right.
And Powers is like, I don't think that's a thing. And I was like, don't worry about it, dude. They are. Whenever you have any doubt about anything, and Jen has heard me say this a million times, I just say everybody does it or everybody has it. That way you don't have to worry about it and you don't have to feel bad about anything because everybody has it or everybody does it.
Doing it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
A little side note, we all tried to go get tattoos the day after Worlds, and we got shut down because everything was closed.
We convinced her to get a tattoo, and then they were all booked up, so we couldn't do it. But I'm going to hold them to it. I didn't forget. I'm going to leave space reserved somewhere for that tattoo.
Awesome. And again, Jeff, also another part of Jeff's question, he wanted to know what your experiences at nationals. I know you guys had touched on the course, but I think the other part of his question is he wanted to know about your experience at nationals as well.
Nationals was a really good course. I mean, I was pretty excited. They always seem to do a really technical course, and it was cool that it rained like the day before, so it was super muddy and gnarly. I mean, I didn't feel 100% at nationals, but I still I feel like I rode a really good race, and the course suited me really well. I liked all the hills and the running, and it's really nice when they put like dope courses together like that. I mean, it's kind of frustrating sometimes when we have to race grass crits, but then again, it's a cross race, so
Right.
I'm just happy to race my bike. But it's great when you see a course like nationals. That's just fundamentally awesome. It's like you got to stay on your toes or you're gonna crash, which is, that's why we're all cross specialists, right?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And
yeah, it was.
But
my quick take on it is that it was a very well done event. I think after the debacle of last year at Austin, I don't know if USA Cycling probably intentionally was like, okay, we got to make sure all of our T's are crossed and our I's are dots for this one. But yeah, the parking was initially maybe going to be a little bit of an issue, and that it wasn't at all, and everything ran super smooth, and the course was fantastic. It was great. The venue itself was really, really quality.
Yeah, it's pretty dope because you could sneak right in and park right next to the start line. All you had to do is pull on a Volkswagen tent, and then when they just turned their backs, you just rip down the little hill, and you could park right next to the start line. It was awesome. So, and if you had a Volkswagen, they gave you free coffee mugs. I have like 6 free coffee mugs. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. But does anyone want a Volkswagen coffee mug? I can tell you.
I think Anthony, what I think you can do is, I think maybe if you get somebody to screenshot this and share it on Twitter and @mention Squid Bikes, they might be eligible. I don't know.
You can put a sticker on it.
I can't do that. We're gonna leave that to Emily because she's like she's like my aide to this stuff. I'm like, Emily, I need a plane ticket. She's like, oh, I already booked it for you. Oh, cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
I'm his
The
agent.
screenshot. I don't. Yeah,
I'm on it. I'm on it.
That's awesome. Right. So
there was a while I actually couldn't do Twitter on my phone because I didn't have a smartphone, but I rigged it up so I could just send text messages to Twitter, so I could always tweet, but I could never see tweets or see people tweeting at me. So I would just bomb it with tweets all the time. People were like, you didn't see me tweet back to you. You're like, no, dude, I don't have a smartphone. I could just.
That's awesome.
I think I got a smartphone when I started riding for Squid. Stepping up.
Nice. Perfect. Well, listen, we've been talking about some exciting things. We've been talking about Worlds and Nationals. Let's talk about Squid. My goodness, Squid Bikes made in Sacramento. It sounds like from the looks of it, you guys were. I guess you guys are having your bikes made by the folks at Ventana. Is that correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Legit.
And now there's 6 stock sizes. Also, it seems like they are obviously BB30 compatible, which is sweet. And by the way, check them out. It looks like also too you have I think is it the rattle can? If I see correctly, the rattle can, correct? Is that just the one main frame size that you guys have? Or are there other ones?
All the frames right now are exactly the same. You're correct. We have 6 stock sizes. And essentially the differences are the finishing options. So the rattle can is the frame that it's the do-it-yourself. We say our little hashtag is DIYFS. And it is meant to do whatever you want with the bike. So you buy it completely raw and finish it however you see fit. So both of my frames I was racing on this year, actually all 3 of them, were rattle cans that I painted myself. And we have a rattle can gallery online that has a number of the bikes that have been finished by customers. And then the other finishing option is we call them Squid flavors. And essentially we have about 20 different powder coat colors and probably about 20 different graphic decal packages. And you can kind of mix and match those for a semi-custom option for people that don't want to take on the full rattle can experience themselves.
I love it. And nice.
Give me that.
When you talked about colors and variations on your website, it refers to them as flavors. So you said, I think you just said that was like 47 flavors. My goodness.
Yeah, and those are just ones that we kind of sat down and thought looked good together, but essentially you can mix and match any of those. So really, it's 20 to the 30th power of potential options.
Any color you want that's going to be sick, it can be put on the bike. Even if you want a boring color, you can have it because making whatever you want. It can be sick. It can be combat sick. It can be legit sick. Right and sick. It doesn't matter because you're just.
Anthony knows what's up.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, there's definitely one thing for sure. If somebody decides to not again have the same bike as everyone else, definitely Squid Bikes is the way to go. In fact, the website is awesome. In fact, you talk about the gallery. The gallery is amazing, and there's so many different styles, and there's so many different fun things. I do have a question, by the way. Are you any correlation with the NYC Messenger Squid? You know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about, and there is no correlation there.
Gotcha.
So Squid, when we were coming up with a name, we did a bunch of brainstorming, kind of thought Squid was pretty cool, and then did some background research to make sure that there wasn't another Squid Bikes, of course, and came to realize that the word squid obviously is a nickname, I guess, for a Navy sailor or someone that is kind of a beginner at riding motorcycles.
No. Have you ever watched Rocket Power?
No.
It's the best cartoon known to man, about like 12 years ago on Nickelodeon, and they address a squid as somebody who was kind of a chump on a bike.
Right, exactly.
We changed the definition.
Right.
No, there's still
So there's a number of other associations, and when we were doing that research, we also came across a bike messenger in New York with that nickname, but we don't know him at all.
That was one of my original questions. I know that Gunnar, you and I, kind of like a squid pouring beer. Yeah. See, one of the nice things about Blab is there's the heckle gallery on the side. There's one of our fans. His name is Eric, aka Rush Miller Foundation. He loves to harass me how poorly my skills are at pouring beer, which is a whole nother conversation. We do another Blab on Tuesday nights called Craft Beer Blab that Gunnar posts fondly enough. But anyway, hey folks, by the way, again, welcome. If you're just tuning in, you are on Bike Chat Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, tweet this out, tell a friend, let your friends and followers know what's going on. Right now in the house, we have Emily. Emily, how do you say you pronounce your last name correctly?
Kachorek.
Kachorek. We have Emily Kachorek and Anthony Clark from Squid Bikes, and they are telling us the trials and tales and tribulations of being over at Nationals. We talked about some mechanical doping things, and Anthony diverged on some of the old school cartoons and the definition of being squid. My goodness, that is fantastic. So
now being a squid is just being legit. Being legit, sideways, any of those things. I mean, if you just want to look cool, that's all.
Skids.
That's it. Skids. I mean, I e-brake slid in my friend's driveway. It's proof.
We have to re-release your skid video, Anthony.
Oh, we can do a Squid 3.0, and we can do it with a car.
Oh, no.
We can do like half car and half. We'll just get a rental car. That's what they're made for. And we'll do half. I can't say that.
You gotta buy the insurance.
We'll just do half car and half bike.
You gotta get the
We'll
insurance.
just blend it. We'll use my car. I don't care. I use the brake all the time. That's what it's made for. Emergency. Yeah.
Hey, yeah. I went and saw sprint cars today. Legit sprint cars with like the big one wheel and then the other little one and like the big wings and stuff. Those things are crazy. I just saw them in the shop, but like the dude here in races.
I thought you saw him racing.
No. But I'm gonna go to the race because I saw the guy that races it. But like the cars themselves are crazy.
We get to go see Monster Trucks on Saturday. You should come see Monster Trucks.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're all going to watch Monster Trucks. It's gonna be sick.
Nice.
We let off some fireworks tonight.
What do they do? They just drive over other cars?
No, they do backflips. They do everything. They do like barrel rolls. It's awesome. If I ever retire from bike racing, I'm gonna be a monster truck driver just so I can do backflips in a 1,800 horsepower monster.
That's awesome. So, Anthony,
wait.
I'm sorry. I have a question for you. In regards to cyclocross, I noticed that at least primarily here on the East Coast, and I think in general across the board, I see that a lot of races are now getting into tighter types of series. Race 1, race 2, race 3, race 4. Is that something that you feel is affecting the sport, or is it helping the sport?
Well, it's kind of rad. The Verge series has always been around, and that's like that's always like a big series I always want to try to do very well in, just because it's like New England CX, Cycle Smart puts it on or helps sponsor it, and it's like everybody knows about the Verge series, and I think it's cool because you try to do well in all those races, and then like there's the Central series with like Charm City CX and HPCX, and it's cool because you try to do well there too. And I think they should do a little bit more on the West Coast. So have like a West Coast series, a Mid-Atlantic series, and a New England series. Because New England series is like off the hook, and then the Central one is pretty big. But I think we need a West Coast one because like I always go to CXLA now, and it's bomb. But I wish there was more races. Like Tacoma was awesome this year. It was muddy. It was gnarly. There was a gnarly run up. The whole course was just sick. The Subaru Cup. And I just think that Seattle needs a race because it's always muddy and it's always sick. Sure. And that race was just badass. It was awesome.
Nice. And now, what are your thoughts? I mean, I've certainly noticed that Cross Vegas has become, more predominant. I mean, it used to be kind of like a 3-ring circus, and people are like, oh, hey, look at this cyclocross, isn't that cute? But I mean, and quite honestly, I mean, I've really seen a lot of riders, trying to get out there and run and gun and try to, strut their stuff early on at Cross Vegas. I mean, is that an event that's on your radar, or you're just kind of like?
Well, they only take only like 15 people for that race. And last year I just missed when I petitioned because I didn't petition early enough, and then somehow it fell through. But I'm definitely going to go this year. And that race is like, you don't really drive it. You kind of just like, it's like motor pacing. You kind of hang on and not get dropped and not crash and try to stay with the front group is basically what happens with that race. Because it's like very flat, very open. It's very fast. And those guys just show up here and they just motor pace it. They're so fast. And so I'm pretty excited to do it this year. And I'm really excited to do Jingle Cross as a World Cup. I hear there's a pretty good climb there. I've never done it. So I'm really excited to go there and race that race. I can't wait. It's going to be bomb. It's kind of cool. Going around racing, you feel legit.
It's all
I mean, legit, Vegas is the World Cup now, and before at least the past couple of years, it's been a C1. So it's been on the radar for a while, and has always been, I think, an event that riders key in on, not only because it's a C1 and it's the beginning of the season, but also because the whole industry's there. So it's an important time to show off your stuff, and you're racing in front of all your sponsors, which is great for the partners and for the industry as a whole. And it's a fun event because there's so many people there.
That's awesome. Now again, in regards also to this has been an earlier Bike Chat conversation. We were kind of talking about kind of the gravel phenomenon, how that's kind of taking on sort of a new role. Where again, Gunnar, is it the Rasputa? Am I saying it right? Are you guys going to that? I think.
Oh yeah, I'm going to that. Heck yeah! I don't know. I call it Rapatista, and I probably don't say it right because I don't say anything right. But yeah, like Parrot and Caster, all those races are cool. Like gravel races just rule because it's a little different from road racing. You can kind of just go smash a little bit more, and there's definitely more drifting. And like we get to go pre-ride Rapatista on Monday. Yeah, I have to look at my phone, but I think it's Monday. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 80% sure. Maybe
really?
Monday. But yeah,
this Monday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. What day is it? Yeah, definitely. We're going to pre-ride the course with everybody. It's gonna be awesome.
Sweet.
Can't wait. Legit. But yeah, gravel is awesome. What's that, Em?
How far is that from you?
I don't know. Like an hour and a half. I don't know. It's like 120 miles, 130 miles. So it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
it's on night. It's right up night.
Yeah, Gunnar just put the link up, and in fact that race is I want to say it's relatively new. I remember hearing about it a few seasons back, and I think this year I didn't think they sold out entirely. Is that correct? I mean, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think this is the first year they sold out completely. I think it's only, I think if I'm correct, I think it's like two or 3 years they maybe more they've been in existence. But
That sounds
as
right.
I said, I mean I've heard very positive feedback from people that have been in.
It's
that race.
very snowy, very washboardy because it's on dirt roads that they plow. So like there'll be like 3 miles of road that it's like riding on a washboard. It's kind of sick.
You won this year, right, Ant?
Oh yeah, it was pretty good. It was tough though. There was some pretty good Canadians. Yeah, you had like this snow downhill before the finish, so you just had to kind of lean back and just kind of float your bike in a rut and hope for the best.
So did you actually see the Yeti? The Yeti, you know what I'm talking about? The Yeti costume.
Oh yeah, you hung out in the woods, hung out with him in his little court. It was pretty badass. Just think about how cool. Like I mean, yeah, he gave me special beef jerky.
Nice.
During the race?
No, everybody always jokes. I would love actually to see if I saw the Yeti, I might stop racing. You know, awesome.
I think I would stop riding my bike too if I saw a Yeti. So I'm right there in agreement with you. I don't know, Gunnar. Are there any Yetis in Rochester, Minnesota?
There's no Yetis around here. Yeah, we're on
Rochester, Minnesota.
There is a Rochester, Minnesota. Yeah.
Is there a lot of snow there right now? Do you have a snowmobile?
I don't.
Oh my god, I don't have one either. But
If he did, he would give you a ride, and you guys could go look for Yetis. There's no question about it. But
we could go Yeti hunting, Yeti spotting.
So on a serious note, one of the other cool things that I did notice on the Squid site is not only do bikes, obviously you have accessories, hats, tees, patches, and then you guys are doing a disc wheel set from a company. Is it Pismet?
Pismet.
Good Lord, I should be shot for being a host. I completely mangled that.
That's okay.
No, Anthony, these are wheels that you're running on now. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, you should have seen Powers' face. All right, because I rolled up into Tennessee and Powers is like, "Does your wheel say na 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 na?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "What did the exclamation point say?" I was like, "Well, that says F yeah," because I'm freaking pumped. And he was just like, "I cannot even believe your wheels say that." I was like, "Oh, your wheels don't say that? Oh, funny. It's maybe because I ride Simon wheels and Rob puts all these custom graphics on everything because he's a graphic master."
Right. That's awesome.
It was J Pow approved.
Nice.
We got a question from Scanacci. Scanacci asks, he said, for Emily, do you run canty or disc, and why?
I ran both, so I can answer both.
Nice.
I've ridden on both. Thanks, Ant. But I'm racing discs now, and they're fantastic. I feel like once you ride on discs, it would be hard to go back. Just the stopping power and the hydro setup specifically is way more powerful. More control of your bike. And I actually really like the way the hoods are shaped in terms of keeping you really feeling like you're locked into the bike, with the reservoir for the fluid on top, going down a steep downhill or whatever, and you're just locked into your bike. So disc.
Nice.
I like disc more because when I'm on mountain bike trails, I like to nose wheel around corners a lot more, and it's nicer with the disc because I can just use. Yeah, and like it's really great for skidding because you can one finger skid, and then it's also really great when your friend slams on the brake motor pacing and you need to stop from 30 miles an hour.
What are you looking at me for?
Hey, dude, don't kill my athlete.
No, but yeah, and the hoods are like that's my favorite thing is going from canty to the hydro. My favorite thing is the hood shape. Like SRAM nailed it. Like, I mean, they're just so comfortable. It'd be hard to go back to canty just because of the shape of the hoods. They like really hold your hand on there. You can't like slip off of them, and it's just legit. It's that simple.
How about? I know that the roadies are afraid that disc brakes are gonna like cut your fingers off or something if you're riding. I don't know how you're going to get your hands stuck in the disc rotors, but is that a concern for you as you're racing in cyclocross?
Not really in cyclocross, because crashes are more like self-made. I mean, there are some, but road crashes, like you see a lot of road crashes in the Tour de France. So I think people are worried about when you get like 120 guys going 50 miles an hour down a downhill and you get that crash, you have all these spinning razor blades coming at you. And like I know wheels can do the same thing, but I think that's what people's concerns are. And I think for a professional road racer that, yeah, I mean, I think disc is a little bit scary when it comes to a crash. But in cyclocross, no, not really. I don't think it's a big deal. You know, I think it's like you crash. You can, you can get hurt in this sport. But I don't know. Their engineers are working on it, but I just think it's going to be disc all over, and I think it's going to work just fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there, and I know there's a lot of pushback. In fact, I also know that there was actually this is maybe not so true, but are you seeing a lot more of the electronic? Are you seeing electronic SRAM? Are you riding electronic SRAM?
I don't have it yet, but I saw it and I was like, oh, no. So I don't have it yet, but if SRAM's like, hey, like, do you want to try electronic? I'd be like, yeah, wait, are you serious? Of course I want to try it. Because then I can be like, what? No. And people are like, is your bike shifting right? I'm like, yeah, because I don't have a cable. There's no delay. So that's how I feel about electronic.
Nice.
Right, folks, if you guys are watching this at mention SRAM Road right now, and then it's at Tweakin 101, get him some electronic SRAM right now. Because then we can see him go whatever that is. I can't even duplicate it. There you go. And again, by the way, don't forget, share this out. We are live with the folks from Squid Bikes and talking all kinds of things cyclocross related, custom frame related. Don't forget, give Squid Bikes some loving. They are on Facebook, they are on Twitter, they are on Instagram. And my goodness, if you cannot find a product that you are not satisfied with on their website, guess what? They will custom make it themselves as well. And thank you for all the props in addition. We're here every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, my co-host, Gunnar Soros, does an awesome Tuesday night Crab Beer Blab. I co-host that as well. A lot of fun. Never said we would enjoy this show. That's for sure, Gunnar. You know what I'm saying?
This is fun. This is fun. Are we doing it right? How do you type in the box over here? I want to type with everyone else.
Yeah.
Nice.
How do you do symbols on this?
Oh God, the symbols are coming out. Do it, Anthony.
Nice.
There you go.
Perfect.
You got
Nice.
This is I gotta be careful. This is my laptop. I don't want to break the keypad.
So Emily, I have a question. Are there any plans? Are there any plans on the road with other frame platforms that Squid Bikes is looking into? Like, for example, we talked about cross bikes and gravel bikes. I mean, those, let's call it same. I'm not necessarily going the direction of mountain biking, but are you seeing anybody that's approaching you saying, hey, have you thought about this? Have you considered a mountain frame? Are there any thoughts between maybe doing like a fat bike or anything of that nature, or is it just sticky to what you're doing now?
There might be.
That's not you. I'm not saying that.
We are definitely looking into expanding our line right now, and have a couple different things that we've talked about. And I can say pretty confidently that there will likely be a road bike in the works.
Road bikes! Maybe. I'm just trying. Yeah.
And there might be some other stuff that we're prototyping as well, but the line will be expanding.
And it's going to be fancified, and it's going to be blown guts color. I mean, it's going to be sick. You don't even have to worry about it. It's going to be sick because it's just going to be color because everything is black. so it's gonna be color.
Perfect.
So are you sticking with aluminum or going into carbon, or can you not say? Or
We will be sticking with handmade aluminum.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think people think you always need like a carbon bike, and I think Ben Burden and myself proved this year that aluminum bikes are just as fast as carbon bikes. It's nice when you fly around the country, you don't have to worry about it cracking. I mean, I still pack foam around it so it doesn't get scratched. But I mean, carbon bikes are nice, they ride nice, but handmade aluminum bikes ride a hell of a lot nicer, I feel. Especially like after all year of riding them, my bike isn't cracked, it's still like brand new, and it's also hand welded. It's not welded by a machine. So I think people like lose a lot of value in that stuff through the years, and it's like cool that you're riding a bike that was all welded by Ventana. Like there's no machines involved or anything. Like he cuts the tubing, he hand welds them, he heat treats them, and it's like every bike is like, I guess, made with passion technically.
Right.
So it's just really nice.
The aluminum, I think a lot of people, see it as it's a material that came before carbon. But really for cyclocross, I've ridden carbon cross bikes as well. And, it's hard to take it without, grain of salt since I'm a owner of the company, but it's the nicest bike I've ever ridden. It, it's stiff and for cross, you're riding around on 20 PSI. So you want your bike to be underneath you and you want to know exactly where it is. And that's what the frame does. It's there and, it makes it so you can put the wheel exactly where you want it. And I think the aluminum is actually a fantastic material for cyclocross.
Nice.
Right.
I think the biggest thing is the through axles. The TRP fork and then the through axle front and rear it made the bike incredibly stiff and agile. Like that's the biggest difference I've noticed, because I rode a Squid bike with the clamp axles and then I rode the through axle. And I would say the clamp axle was very nice, but the biggest difference I noticed was getting the through axle. And I think I can't believe how perfect it is. Like I wouldn't change anything, especially now with the through axles. And then like I didn't have a problem at all this cross season. Everything worked perfect. Wheels, like all my SRAM stuff, nothing broke. Everything was perfect. Nice. So, that's like, okay, cool. I know exactly what I'm going to run next year.
Yeah, the bikes are really playful is kind of the best way to describe it. Is they're like big BMX bikes. They're just underneath you and they're super responsive, and you put power down on them and they go underneath you. They're really, really fun bikes to ride.
And if you get sick of the decal pack, you just heat gun it off and get a new one because it's sick.
And speaking of power, Gunnar, you had sent me a great article that I retweeted out earlier today, Anthony. It was an interview that is up on SRAM's website, and it was a great interview. It was talking about yourself and sort of coming up. I don't want to necessarily say coming up through the ranks, but how you really, almost kind of overnight took a look at the perspective of your riding and where you were in the field, and then a comparison to how the other riders were looking at you. For example, I think one of the quotes you said, I was the guy that was getting yelled at because I was in their lines. And then once you stepped it up, took it a little bit more serious, you said you're doing some motor pacing and things like that. That sounds like you really are, as they say, stepping up your A game to bring more to the table. So can you talk to the audience about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, I think it was, I would probably say about, like 3 years ago, I did get a podium at a UCI race, but the fields weren't as deep as they were this year or last year. And when I found out, like, I was actually starting to get, like, good, I never thought, like, it would happen. I started talking with Al, and I was like, hey, I really want to get better and better. And then I was like, Al, what do I have to do to make a jump? I'm frustrated with like keep finishing fifth. What do I have to do? And I was like, well, you need to motor pace more, and we need to find out what your max like VO2 is, because we don't think you're training hard enough. And then Al did, I think it's called a lactate test on me, and then I started motor pacing a lot. And my friend Chris would go out with me once or twice a week, and we'd motor pace, and And it was like very frustrating at first because like I kept felt like I was getting dropped, and then over time it got easier and easier and easier.
Now the scooter's not fast enough.
And then I found out when in the races when people would attack, I was able to make the move. So instead of getting fifth, I could fight for the podium or the win because last year I would get dropped. So it's really cool to see that happen. So it made me I bought a faster scooter. And we're going to be training at faster speeds through the summer. And I'm going to be working a lot more off-road, getting my technical abilities better and just always improving because I just want to race better and stronger just for me. Like I want to make the world's team again. It's just like that experience was so awesome. I want to do it again because it made me feel so good. And it's just a good lifestyle. I mean, I wake up every day looking forward to ride. And like it's crazy because everybody around me is like, not doing that, so it's amazing.
Yeah.
Nice. Great. Well, as I said, congratulations to that. We can only see more great things, coming out of your future for sure. And I know that when you do get a chance to come up here to Rochester, and apparently the venue is moving. I don't know if you know that it's not going to be at Ellison Park anymore. They're moving it to I think Genesee Valley Park. Long story short. But Dave, I don't know. Here's a name dropping. Dave McElwain. I run into him a number of times at many of the UCI races that I announce at. And when he and I were talking and chatting, he had said, "Oh yeah," he goes Anthony Clark. He was like, "I've never seen anybody like him. He either rides like I quoted him a tweet. And Emily liked it. I said." He said, Dave said, you either ride like you're riding after something or you're riding away from the police. That was one of my tweets. Very, very, very true. See, would you agree or disagree? Or you don't want to take the cat out of the bag?
I guess I would kind of agree. You know, when I ride, I don't really hear a lot of things around me, and I'm almost like not really racing everyone else. Like every race, I try to really make the group and I try to ride the group and race my own race. So I just try to stay really focused and I keep breathing and keeping my heart rate down and staying calm. And I know that sounds crazy, but like I found out instead of being all like crazy and like, oh man, oh no, I made a mistake. It's like, okay, no, I just like breathe and you just like repeat every line of the course. Like I'm going to take this line. I got to downshift. I got to upshift. I got to come out of this corner in this cadence, and you slow your roll and you just do the whole thing nice and calm. And it's like, before you know it, there's 2 laps to go and you're still in the group. And, and that's like one of the biggest things that I found out this year. So it's like, and like all of my access energy is just getting honed into the race.
Nice.
And, it's like I used to run around and waste a lot of energy and be all crazy. And now it's like, I try to just save it for the race. And it's kind of cool because I'm learning how to channel that energy into racing. And it's like right now I'm in like, my 2 weeks of off for the year. And like, I'm losing my mind because I don't have any way to channel my power, my energy. So I'm just like, I want to like break stuff and like, Yes, I just can't wait to start riding again.
But Ant, you always race like, I mean, I think that's a good quote from Dave because you always race 110% all the time. Like,
well, yeah, I'm in the race.
You'll be by yourself and you're still sprinting through the finish line, even though it's like your last lap. Like you're always just giving it 100%.
I'm away from Gavin. I put a lot of time into it. I have a lot of people supporting me. I'm away from my brother and my family, and sometimes my brother's kids watch the races that are live streamed. So I feel like if I'm out there racing and I'm away from my son and I'm away from people who are supporting me and I just have all those people like looking up to me, it's like, well, why am I going to just pull out of this race? I'm going to race the race as hard as I can and finish the race as hard as I can because that's what I came here to do. That's what I do. I race my bike, and yes, I had a couple of DNFs this year, but like one of them was because of heat stroke. And then I don't remember what the other one was for, but like, you know what I mean? Sometimes
it happens.
Yeah. But I always try to just with everything that's happened, I just like always want to race as hard as I can because like, especially for my opponents, like that way, like whoever I'm racing against, like if I beat them, it's fair and square. Or if they beat me, they know that I went as hard as I could. So like they have that same sense of victory as when I have it. So like, it's like, That way we all race each other just as hard. So it's not like, oh, he beat me because he let me win. There's none of that. So it's like whoever wins fair and square. They rode their ass off. So and that's another reason why I like to ride so hard.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, we are at an hour of Bike Chat, and folks, as I said, if you're just tuning in, a couple folks saying hello. Want to give a shout out to our audience, those people kind of hanging out. I want to say hello to Catherine Moore. Hey, from Australia, Leanne Isaacson, good to see you.
Australia? Yeah. We have Sheila's watching us.
Hey, Aunt, you want to go to Australia, right?
One day.
There's a mystery VIP Jenna Page Greaser watching.
That's my babe.
NorCal CX in the house. Want to give a shout out to my good Rochester Pete Lee Barber in the house. Thank you so much. Also, Cycle Boredom. Hey, good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. I follow you guys on Twitter. Good stuff. Also,
yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah,
I took a selfie with him at a race.
Nice.
He's like, I'm Cycle Boredom. I want a selfie. I was like, let's do it.
Get it.
Done.
Get it. Thank you, Scott Morton. Red Flag Dan, of course, and Elo Grande, the co-host with the most. Again, our good friend Jeff that just chimed in. Again, every Thursday night, this is Bike Chat. Folks, don't forget, you know where to find us for all things cycling related. And what a great show that this has been. It has been an honor to be on the air with two fantastic, dynamic people that are bringing such value.
I gotta get over 2,000. Bam. Done.
There you go. As in the words of Anthony Clark describing E-Tap, right? Can't even
you gotta say it like what? So na is what? I can't even believe it. It's sick, but you say it so fast.
Really? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, it's like when I was like 18, I used to say "can't believe it, it's sick," and I just said "na." So like that's what na is like. What? I can't believe it, it's sick. But you say it so fast, it just comes out like na, and then plus it works out when you shift really fast. You can be like na, and you can just spin your wheel and shift. That's where it came from. It's like that's it. It's like it'll probably change in like another year or two because it always changes for some reason.
It's got to evolve. It's going to evolve to something else.
Well, I definitely have to say that this episode of Bike Chat has clearly been elevated by a whole nother level. As I said, every Thursday night, you know where to find us. ENA, have you ever? Oh, question here from Skinachi. Have y'all ever walked the course backwards for recon? He's in.
Oh yeah.
He said
everybody does that. Yeah, like you'll be pre-riding with powers, and all of a sudden he locks up the brakes in front of you, and you're like, "Oh shit, I almost hit you, bro!" And he was like, "Dude, I gotta look at that section again." Yeah, it happens all the time because like you don't want to pre-ride the whole course on like one technical section. You just go back and do it a bunch of times.
Right.
Find the perfect line. Yeah, you always backtrack and then hit the technical line again.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're gonna make yourself tired doing 6 laps. I only do 3 pre-ride laps. That's it.
Gotta stop, get up, turn around, check out the line, go back, do it again. Watch some other people ride it, see if they do it good or bad.
Or there's some sections you get to watch people crash. I mean, I like to watch people crash. It's kind of fun because when I crash, I laugh too. You know, we gotta have crash. Everybody crashes.
Nice. Hey, so actually, Anthony, I do have one other comment here before closing. I know some news coming across the wire. You're one of your fellow cyclists, Raphael Gagne. He's actually switched to a new sponsor, riding for Cannondale now. But I was actually very surprised this summer down at the UCI World Cup at Wyndham. He was actually racing his mountain bike. Now, obviously, again, Squid doesn't necessarily make mountain bikes per se, but is this something that you may look at venturing in to try to test your skills at another venue, possibly?
I mean, I always liked mountain bike racing. I used to do it. In Ventana, I'm sure he could make one, but it's one of those things that it's like, I think it's like one step at a time. I think trying to do like mountain bikes and road bikes all at once, I think it's cool, like kind of easing your way into everything. But it's also hard to be a full-time mountain biker and cross athlete. Like Rafael Gagne he's a mountain bike racer.
Right.
And he just does like a quarter to half a cross season for fun. And he's a very, very good mountain biker. He just does cross as like his side thing. It's like you can't do 2 full seasons. It's like crazy because I think the first World Cup for mountain bikes is like March 12th or something.
Yeah, correct.
So it's like I can't even imagine racing March 12th. What's that, like a month from now? Like, I just got off my bike 3 days ago from racing. Like, I don't think, that's a little harsh.
Nice. Cool.
Did I answer that right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely.
Good.
So, hey, Gunnar, you got Craft Beer Blab coming up on Tuesday. We're going to be talking about Hop Slam, I think it is. Is that what you got under your sleeve?
Yeah. We're going to be drinking Hop Slam, and I guess we'll try to do like a roundtable discussion review of it, as long as everyone can get it. Hopefully, I still haven't gotten mine.
I've just recovered from that cheap malt liquor that we taste tested on Tuesday, and I do not recommend that. So definitely stick to the craft beer, or indie beer, as they're saying.
Indie beer, yeah, that's what they're calling it now. Indie beer.
Indie beer. All right, well, folks, that is going to wrap up this evening's edition of Bike Chat with.
Was it a success? Did it come out good? That was good, right?
All right, I'm going to take us off here.